Greetings, adventurer. They call me GM Comfortable Gray. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me. What can we call you?
You can just call me Dragon for the course of the interview.
You got it, Dragon. Well, I have come upon your TikTok. We kind of like ran into each other through a mutual acquaintance, Eric of the Ronin's Den, and I like what you're saying about MCDM. Like that's kind of like I'm very early in on your TikTok journey, but you've been here longer than I have. So I want to know what inspired you to start expressing yourself in this way.
Honestly, I was bored one day and just started recording videos. I've been with TikTok since it was called Musically. So I have been with TikTok since basically the beginning. I've been here a long time. Honestly, the first video I put out was somebody made a video about the Tarrasque in D&D 5e, and I got very angry. So I'm like, I'm making a video in response to this. So it was my first ever video was a Stitch complaining about someone's interpretation of the Tarrasque, because everybody says in 5e, if you have a level 1 cleric Aarakocra, you can beat it. Oh, bullcrap. There's rules in the DMG that says you can hurl a rock that does 4d10 damage. I win.
Simple. That's a good take. Like just because something's not in the stat block doesn't mean a creature can't do it. Anything can use an improvised weapon. Anything.
Yeah. There's so many options. And it's like, yeah, if you want to get technical, the best part about that though, I said in the DMG and I gave the page number, I'm like, improvised damage for game masters up to like being hit by a pile of rocks is 4d10. I'm like, a Tarrasque throwing rocks is 4d10 damage. Someone goes, that's not rules as written. You're telling me the rules that are written in the rulebook aren't rules as written? What?
I mean, that's as good a reason as any other to get started, is out of spite.
Yeah, it was that started it, and then I did a bunch of D&D TikTok stuff, and then I branched out into doing TikToks for other TTRPGs. So that's where my journey started, being very mad about the Tarrasque.
Right now, you're talking about Draw Steel.
Yes, it is the TTRPG from MCDM, which is Matt Colville. Famously, his Running the Game series on YouTube has created probably more dungeon masters than any other source online. That's me saying it. I don't know if he would agree with that, but it is a legendary series of videos. And when the OGL crisis came out for 5e, his company MCDM, that was doing a bunch of 5e products, decided to make their own TTRPG. And being my wife says that I talk about Matt Colville the way that Swifties talk about Taylor Swift. So obviously I was going to back it. So I got the books and I've fallen in love with that system. I'll never go back to 5e. If I'm going to play fantasy, it is Draw Steel. That's the only game I'm going to play for high fantasy.
Also, that's your present. That's what you're playing right now.
I am actually not playing in a Draw Steel game right now. I've run it a couple times, but I've not put together a full group. So the games that I'm particularly running right now, I am running a Fabula Ultima game, and that's it. That's the only game I'm running, which is weird. Normally I'm running 2 to 3 a week, but right now it's just a Fabula Ultima game. But I'm in a 2nd edition D&D game, as well as over on Beards and Barbarians, I am a player in their 5e game, but that's their choice to play 5e. I'm going to try to eventually run Draw Steel over there, so we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned 2nd edition. I'm curious how you got started in TTRPGs.
It was not 2nd edition. My start in TTRPGs started when I was either 16 or 17. It started with me, my friend Patrick, and my friend John. Patrick and I were over at John's aunt and uncle's house where he lived at the time, and we were hanging out, and he brought out this box. The 2006 basic edition box set for 3.5 edition. It had a blue dragon on the cover of it. He goes, "Hey, let's play this." And Patrick and I said, "Okay, yeah, we'll play." I picked the fighter Ragdar, and Patrick picked the rogue Lita, and we died to a blue dragon that night. But I have been playing TTRPGs ever since. It became like a big obsession of a hobby for me, but Patrick and John don't play. So they did not get as hooked as I did. So from there, I found a group at that point, played for a while. When 4th edition came out, I wanted to play 4E, but I could not find anybody willing to play it. So I ended up switching to Pathfinder. And then when 5E came out, I played when it was still called Next. D&D Next was the original name for 5E. So I've been playing since then. And then a few years into playing 5E, I started playing other TTRPGs, and it is gone from there. So having my friend John say, hey, do you want to try this game that I found? It looks interesting. And saying, yeah, why not? That's been my hobby ever since.
That's sweet. And I started in 3rd edition 3.5, kind of like in that same kind of era. And that was a good system to sink your teeth into.
It definitely was. Looking back at it now, it is probably the only edition of D&D I would never go back to. Having now played 2nd edition with Eric, GM Duality Complex as the game master, if I'm going to play D&D, it's probably going to be 2nd edition. It's the edition that I am quickly falling in love with. I think it's old, it's dated, it's got some stuff I don't like in it. Obviously, the lore, Thaco, even though it's not as complicated as people make it out to be, it is not as complicated as people make it out to be. It's still a little weird and funky, but I've really enjoyed playing 2nd edition. The simplicity of it, combat flows so much smoother in 2nd edition than I've ever had in 5th edition, so I was never an advocate for 2nd edition, but now I'm that 5th edition player that went back to 2nd, and I'm like, all you people lied to me. You all lied. You told me this was a boogeyman, a horrible system, terrible. It's not. It's not. Sure, some of the lore needs updated, but just ignore the lore and you'll have fun.
I mean, that last line, ignore the lore and you'll have fun, that applies to a lot of games. In my opinion, like Vampire the Masquerade and a bunch of other systems, just like, yeah, you can take it, and the system itself can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some games I really like the lore, and there's some that I don't. So yeah, just make the lore up as you see fit. Heck, even when I ran 5th edition, like half the stuff I brought out, people were like, that's not the lore for that monster. Well, it is for me. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's your world. That's rule 0. Like, absolutely rule 0 right there.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's fun to make up your own nonsense and then stick it in your game.
It is. I ran my own Tarrasque once, and fortunately, it was for people who like didn't know a lot of stuff, so they weren't like, "Oh, that's not a Tarrasque's powers." They were just into it, and I told them beforehand, "This is my Tarrasque," and they loved it. It's fun, like when it's open. But I recently heard you say you've played 54 TTRPGs.
54 different systems that I can remember playing.
Do you distinguish between editions? Like I agree. 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 5th edition, they're different enough. Those are different games.
I counted every edition of D&D and every edition of Pathfinder in those. So I played 2nd, 3rd. I count 3 and 3.5 the same. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Pathfinder 1, Pathfinder 2. So that is 6 games. So outside of that, I have played 48 different systems, which is nice. Insane when I stop and think about it. But I don't know. A few years ago, I got into other TTRPGs and I like to play them. I've play tested a bunch of different TTRPGs. I've helped promote for upcoming Kickstarters or Kickstarters that were going on. I've interviewed people. I love seeing what people do with particular systems and how they bring the fiction they want to portray in the mechanics of the game. So for me, I say that the best TTRPG on the market right now is Alien. The Alien RPG, there is no better game. It is perfectly designed. It perfectly emulates the story of an alien movie. None better. Granted, it's not good for campaigns. It's good for like 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. But the panic system, the stress mechanics, it literally, as you're playing, feels like an Alien game where you start with everything's going good, and then the more panic and the more stress, the more stuff goes wrong, and the quicker your characters end up dead. It's such a good system. And playing that system, you feel like you're in a movie. You feel like you're in an Alien movie. So when I look at TTRPGs, one of the things I judge them on is, does this particular system emulate the type of fiction it's trying to emulate? So Alien being the example. Another one being Perils and Princesses, Ryan Lynch on TikTok, Outrider Creative. He has created Pearls and Princesses. It is literally just kind of like a cozy OSR game where you play princesses who go save save dragons from ravening princes, and it's just, it emulates it so well, and it's simple. It's something you could get together with your kids, your daughter, and she could be a princess in an awesome adventure, and you could teach it to her in a couple minutes. So when I look at games, I look at them from that perspective. And playing as many games as I have, I've seen games that say they're something and they don't do it. And though it's fun being able to have so much experience playing these different systems to be able to analyze that in a way, it's so fun to me. So any game I can get my hands on and get to run or get to play, I'm gonna absolutely do it.
Well, Dragon, yeah, I love that. You're totally right. System and story, they need to mesh together. The system needs to feed the story. They support one another. They're not separate.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I always feel like I'm knocking Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't mean to. Dungeons and Dragons is a good system. It does what it's supposed to. But I always feel like when I play games that aren't D&D, games that are designed to do certain things, I end up realizing how much I just don't like D&D. Because 5th edition it's not a bad game. It's not badly designed. But the way I describe it is, I don't think it does anything well. It just is everything good or okay. When I've played systems that do things well and then go back to a system that just does everything okay, I don't know. It's hard for me to transition. So with Draw Steel, the combat is so much more fun than D&D. The negotiation mechanics, the monster book, everything about it is just so much more engaging to me than 5th edition. And like I said, I hate that it sounds like I'm shitting on 5e, because if that's what people want to play the game you love. But I think there are so many TTRPGs out there that you can find exactly what you're looking for. Heck, there was a TTRPG I was looking at the other day that is literally designed for you to play one of 3 witches in a coven. Like, I forget the name of it, but I was looking at it, I'm like, this looks pretty cool. So there is literally a game for anything you can imagine. And I get so upset when like people that have only played 5e will get mad that I'm promoting another game. It's like, I didn't tell you to not play 5e. I'm just saying these games exist, and you should go check them out because they're awesome. And the creators of these are typically just everyday people who are just making something for the fun of making it. They're not $1 billion corporation that continues to do shitty thing after shitty thing. And the $10 to their little thing might mean the world to them, where $10 to a big conglomeration doesn't mean anything.
Very true. I love the game. I've heard of that Coven one. I was interested in that one. I haven't played Alien. I haven't played Mothership yet. They're on my list of things I want to try. Same with Draw Steel. What are some systems that you haven't played yet that you do want to play?
So my short list, Mothership is on there. I have never played Mothership, surprisingly. That is one I want to get to the table at some point. Another one is the Doctor Who RPG, not the 5e conversion one, the original Doctor Who TTRPG.
The Fate one.
What?
The Fate one.
No, not the Fate one.
Not the Fate one. Okay.
No, there is like actually the Doctor Who RPG, and it's really interesting. I want to get it to the table. But Mothership, Doctor Who, Shadow Dark, because I've heard nothing but good things about Shadow Dark. So I want to get that to the table at some point. And those are kind of my three. And the one that has kind of been my white whale has been Kids on Bikes. I have never gotten to play Kids on Bikes, and every time that I've planned to play in a game of Kids on Bikes, something has happened. It is the one that I keep getting like opportunities, and then something, either the game master gets sick, or I have my kid get sick, or I have to get called out to work. It's every time I try to play Kids on Bikes, something comes up. So it is literally my white whale. I cannot get it.
That's a shame. I'm kicking myself because I did run Kids on Bikes this year. I ran a mini campaign that was basically Chronicle. Did you see the movie Chronicle?
I did not.
It's like meteor lands, a bunch of kids get powers from it, and I did it as like a psychic choir, where in Kids on Bikes there can be like that one character who has special powers, but like it's not a player character. And I kind of did it in that way, where everybody kind of shares the power, and they pass it around. But I'm getting my list of things people want to play. Let's not white whale it for too long. Let's get like 3 other people. Let's get you on that bike.
Yeah, I think the thing that has always intrigued me about Kids on Bikes is the town building mechanic. I like that you build the town together as a group. A game that I have played is The Crypt is Opened. It's not officially out yet. It's still in beta, but you can get it over on When Suddenly Games itch.io. But he has a town building mechanic in that game that is so fun that it's made me want to play Kids on Bike even more. And yeah, it's just a game I've got to get it to the table eventually, but I don't know. We'll see how or when that ever happens.
When we play Kids on Bikes together, how many sessions do you feel like you need to get the full flavor of the system? Like there's a session 0 and then 1 session. Is that enough, or do you need a little bit more?
So I am a big one thing that I am very adamant about is that there are certain games that are good for campaigns. There are certain games that are good for one-shots. I've gone on record on my TikTok as saying that I will not play a one-shot of 5e or any D&D system. I actually just did a video a couple days ago where I said I would never play in a one-shot of Draw Steel, because those games to me are not one-shot games. They are not a game that if I play it in a one-shot, I'm going to feel fulfilled. I'm going to feel like there's stuff left on the table. But there are really good games that are one-shots, like Morkborg, Cyborg. I don't know where Kids on Bikes falls into that because I've never played it. But last year, Eric and I over on Ronin's Den, we set out with a goal to play 12 one-shots in a calendar year, 1 a month. An undertaking of undertakings. It was hard to get it. We ended up playing in 16 different one-shots that year. 16 different systems. And there are some games that after one game, I could run that game 100 times. I feel like I knew the rules. I could be a player in it. No issue. There were other games that I sat there and went, it would take me a year to figure this game out. So it's I don't know where I would fall in that. There are some games that are just easier to pick up and understand than others, and I don't know where Kids on Bikes would fall on that till I've actually had a chance to play it. But if it is a simpler system, I could probably pick it up in a session. But we'll see when I play it.
That's fair. Yeah, with your experience, I think you could pick it up in a session. I think session 0 plus per session. But you've obviously been in the game master's chair for a while. You're fortunate enough to also have games to play too. But when you're running a game, what's your preparation like day of? What do you do to get into the chair?
I grab a Coke and sit down.
Grab a Coke and sit down. What?
I am. So this is going to be the most unconventional thing I say here. If I prep more than 5 minutes for a session, I'm miserable. I do not like to prep. Even when I was playing a game like 5e, which most people will say requires a lot of prep, I did 5 minutes at most. I follow the lazy game or the return of the lazy dungeon master principle, which is prior to the actual campaign, you sit down and you do a whole bunch of stuff. You like figure out 10 secrets of the world. You get a rough outline. You do like notable places and NPCs. And you kind of get that information. And then you do a hot start. And there you just kind of roll with what the players do. And in between sessions, you do about 5 minutes worth of prep. Based on what the players did, you look at your list of secrets, you look at your outline. And I've actually found that when you do that with other systems as well, it's just as effective. So for me, I am about as minimal prep as possible. My Fabula Ultima game, the last 3 sessions, I did 0 prep. It was all improv based on what the players were doing. So it's I'm about the worst person to ask that question because I just don't prep. I roll with whatever's going on, and it's yet to bite me in the ass, but I imagine it will one day, but so far it hasn't.
Nice. Well, also, Dragon, I love that. And I think it's a testament to your skill and experience that you can do this. Do you find that there are times when you get 3 hours into a session and you're like, all right, we're ending here because my well has run dry for the day? Or can you keep going?
So originally when I started running, I was a person that if I didn't run for 4 hours, I felt like it was a failure. But now it's to the point that about 2 hours, I'm ready to stop. I find and this it's so weird because there are people out there that'll say if you're not going 4 hours, what was the point? Well, I don't know. I find that when I have shorter sessions, hour and a half, 2 hour, 3 hour max, the players get more done. Things happen quicker. When you have a set time, hey, we're meeting at 9, we're going to be done at 11. They want to get stuff done. So there's less table chatter. There's less debating for an hour. They know, okay, we want to get this done tonight. We got to move. So I've found that shorter sessions tend to alleviate some of that decision paralysis. So I've come around on that because I used to be one of those people that's like, I got to run for a long time or it's not worth my players' time. But anymore, 2 hours, 3 hours max is about all I'm going to run before we end the session. And one of our Fabula Ultima games, we had a perfect climax to where this is a good spot to end the session, so I'm going to end it. We were at 1 hour and 15 minutes. Oh well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna stop because I like to leave it on a point that makes sense. And one of the skills that I'm working on, kind of tying into that, I don't know if you know the improv GM Michael Matthews Jr. on TikTok. One of the things I'm learning from him as being a player in his game for years. I've been playing games with him, I think, for 3 years.
What a privilege.
Consistently every Sunday. But one of the things I'm learning from him is he is a master at, okay, this scene has met its conclusion. We're going to move on. He's not going to let me and this other player talk for 10 more minutes. We got to the scene. We established what we wanted. Everything that needed to be said was said. Okay, we're cutting to these guys. And it's such a skill that I never considered before until I started playing with him. Okay, this is the logical conclusion of the scene. This is the logical conclusion of the episode. And I've been trying to implement that into my game mastering of being able to realize, okay, this is where they're going to start to ramble. Let's cut. Let's go to the next scene. Let's do the next thing. Okay, they just beat a massive villain and we're at a point where it makes sense to stop. Let's stop and regroup next week. So I'm getting better at that, and I attribute that to him because he is so good at his craft. He's an improviser. He's such a great game master, and I've learned a lot from him. And I praise him on TikTok all the time, and he says I'm too nice to him. So we'll see.
That's lovely. With your 0 prep, I need to ask. Obviously, I don't imagine you're playing in person with Improv GM.
No, we play on I think he does Zoom meetings. I don't know, online.
So that's theater of the mind then.
For the most part, yes. Improv doesn't do a lot of tactical games, so most of it is just theater of the mind. Like we did a masks campaign for like a year. We're doing Ars Magica right now. It's been a great experience playing with him, and it's all theater of the mind, and he's so good at teaching systems as well. Like Ars Magica is probably one of the most crunchy systems I've ever played, and I feel like I mastered it in like 1 or 2 sessions solely because of how good he is at teaching.
I do not think I could teach Ars Magica in a session or two, and I love Ars Magica.
It is there's a lot of depth to that game, but I don't know, he has this way of breaking it down to what do the players need to know, and that's all we know. And if something comes up that we don't know, we learn it as we go. So he's good at that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and he is also another person that I've gotten a lot of different game systems under my belt because of him. Because he when we were playing in our masks game, we decided we were going to do a heist. And he goes, masks doesn't do heists well. We're going to switch to leverage for 3 sessions. So we played leverage for 3 sessions. And he's not opposed to that. He's like, okay, this system doesn't do what you guys want to do. We're going to switch to another system for a couple sessions and then go back when that particular thing you're doing is over. And it's always worked. So I've found that my love of other systems comes from that as well, because being able to transition to a system and having players that are willing to do that to enhance the game is rare. There are so many people online like, oh, I want to play these other systems, but my table won't change systems. Well, find a different table. I don't know. I'm weird in that regard because I'll leave a table. I don't care. I'm if I don't want to play what we're playing, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna leave. I'll find a table. And there are a lot more game masters than there are a lot more players than there are game masters. So I'm not gonna have any trouble finding another table.
So true. All right. So huge information overload on that. I'm gonna bring it in. So he does it that way, but when you're running a game, what's your tabletop?
So when I'm running a tactical game, I use Roll20. I like Roll20. It's free. It's simple. It does what it needs to do. Is it the greatest? No. Is it things that could improve on? Yes. Before the stream, we were talking, and you asked me if I was a Foundry person. No, I hate Foundry. I despise Foundry. And here's the reason. On Roll20, if I want to add a token that I don't have in the stuff, I click on it, drag it, and drop it, and it is on Roll20. In Foundry, I have to go in and like click on this and click on this, then find this and then implement this, and then I got to name it and do all this, and then I got to put it on the... I just want to be able to drag it and drop it. Like, it is the simplest feature in the world. Heck, even the Codex, which is the Draw Steel proprietary virtual tabletop that's not out yet. I only have access to it because I'm part of the Patreon. I can drag and drop it. I can drag something and drop it in. It's such a simple feature that Foundry doesn't have, and it drives me nuts. Like, I want to be able to just drag and drop a map, drag and drop a token. It's so simple, and then you just adjust it to fit the grid, and you're done. And Foundry doesn't do it. I just can't do Foundry.
Gotcha. Hey, that's a legitimate concern. I feel like I can drag and drop some stuff, but maybe it's because I've set some things up for myself, and my setup is not your setup. That's the big thing, and all that. And I will never disparage Roll20. Like you said, it's free, it gets the job done, and it's a good system. It's one of the originals. And as that, it's totally gangster to use Roll20.
It's been around a long time, and it just works. It works for me. I'm used to it. I understand it. I don't know. Every time I try to sit down with Foundry, because Eric gave me access to his Foundry, and I try to work on it and I try to figure it out, and I'm going, I can't get walls to work. Why are they not working? It should just be this simple thing. And then Eric will get on and he'll show me this is what you do, and I still can't get them to work. And then I go to roll 20, it's like click, 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 done. And I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with roll 20. It's the easiest thing in the world for me. So once again, like I said, I don't knock Foundry. I just personally don't like it. So,
But that's from the game master perspective. I hope you'll be willing to do Foundry for our kids on bike game in the future.
well, I'm willing to use Foundry as a player because somebody else is setting it up. But if I don't have to set it up, it's fine. But if I have to do all the work to like put the maps and no, I don't want to do that.
Do you do a lot of in-person gaming anymore?
I have one in-person game, and that is at my buddy Blam's house. We play once a week for tabletop games, and then we do a board game night once a week. So I do have a gaming space with my friends in person twice a week. So
That's very nice.
yeah, it's for the past couple weeks I haven't been able to go over because of work and like Thanksgiving, and I was out of town for 2 weeks. Yesterday I was over at his house, and when I'm done here, I'm heading over to Blam's. But I was like, yesterday I was like, man, I missed you guys. I did not know how much I needed like that personal connection like to my friends. But yeah, it's great to have them. And that group we formed in 2015 is when I met all of them through D&D. I put out a thing on Facebook that I was looking to play D&D and running. Had some people sign up. Through the years, some people have come, some people have went, but my friend Blam, my friend Steele, my little brother Quentin are the three that have kind of just remained the entire time. So it's like, it's my core group. Those are my guys.
That's lovely. I'm really happy for you. I don't do a lot of in-person gaming myself anymore, and I miss it because the energy cannot be beat. Any virtual tabletop cannot compete with being in person.
See, people say that to me, but I don't know that I fully agree, because I don't know. I like being in person, but I also like virtual because it's easier to do maps and tokens and like setup on a virtual tabletop than it is on a table. On a table with a dry erase board, I have to draw everything out, and that slows down the game, and it just, I don't know. I like it. I don't think that one is better or more energetic than the other. Being able to like instantly switch from this map to this map and have everything set up and ready before the players even get there is a lot better than having to erase real quick and redraw. I don't know. To me, it's the same. But then again, I'm such a fan of TTRPGs and playing that I make sure I have fun in everything that I do. So
That's beautiful. Well, I'm gonna say for me, virtual 2.5 hours, that's the sweet spot. That's my ultimate session length. When I'm in person, I leave the session at 4 a.m. with more energy than I came for. It hypes me up. I can go on and on and on, but maybe it's because I used to LARP for like 72 hours at a time. Like I love that. Like that's really where I'm at.
So here's a question for you. What is the longest you have ever played D&D in a single session?
It wasn't Dungeons and Dragons. So for Dungeons and Dragons, it was a 6-hour session with like that little like we ordered pizza. We had like a 15-minute break in the middle. That was my longest. For non-D&D, it was Exalted Second Edition, and that was a 12-hour session.
Okay. So when 5th edition first came out, the group we put together, my friend John, not the John that introduced me to D&D, a different John, was running the game, and we were at basically the end of a chapter, the end of a story arc. We started at our the gaming store we played at. We played for 8 hours. They closed the store, so we moved to another location and proceeded to play for 4 more hours. So we had a 12-hour day in 2 separate locations. So it was that was the longest I ever played, and that was the only time I think I was ever like actually burnt out from TTRPGs. We actually took 2 weeks off because we were just, but there was also a lot of emotional stuff in that, like the campaign, and a couple characters died and things like that. So there was a lot of emotional stuff as well, but it was the best session I think I've ever had, but it was also the longest and the most tiring.
So it's like our longest were similar in that aspect.
Yeah.
The LARPs I would go to were 72 hours, but a lot of that is downtime and like you sleep and you eat. So like it doesn't count. It's totally different than the week. Like the weekend games, different beast entirely. I don't LARP anymore, for the record. Thank you.
I've never been LARPing. I've always wanted to, but the only LARP near me is 2 hours to the south, and it is invitation only.
Wow.
It is so big that you have to know someone. They have to get you an invite. So until I meet someone who does it, I will never get invited there.
Noted. Hey, that's pretty exclusive. I've never been to an invite only anything.
Me either, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun to get an invite.
It does. It does. Like, even just being, I would love to be invited. I've never been invited before. Do you feel comfortable saying what your neighborhood is, like around where you are?
I am in the Western Pennsylvania area.
So Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is long, so you're not very close to me. I'm New Jersey based. Would you like to tell us about any gems around you in TTRPGs or just real life aspect?
If you're the best gaming store in the area is Purple Fox. The owner, his name is Andrew. He's an awesome guy. He's having a lot of health issues now. I'm worried about him, but the store, number one, he's smart because he put his hours when people can actually go. He opens at noon and is open till 10. So he picked hours that made sense, not 8 to 4 and going, why can't I get people in here to my store? Well, because you picked when people are working. He picked smart times, and he has a plethora of games. He can get you anything you need. And the thing that I've always found interesting is that if he does not have what you're looking for in the store and he has to order it, he gives you 10% off.
That's interesting. So yeah, definitely. I'll put links in for the Purple Fox. Wishing Andrew the best and a hasty recovery.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and everybody he hires there is really nice. It's a family store. He doesn't allow swearing in there or anything, so it's a good place for your kids and everybody. And they have all kinds of events too, like D&D, Magic, Warhammer. They do everything there.
That's an excellent vibe. This has been a lot of fun for me. I definitely need to stay in touch with you. I've basically pinky swore I'm going to run Kids on Bikes for you next year, 2026. Let's get on that bike. Is there anything you wish I had asked you or that you would like to share with our community before we go?
No, I don't think there's really anything I wish you would have asked me. I was just here to have a chat. I will share that I am on the Beards and Barbarians Dungeons and Dragons stream on Friday nights. You can catch us Friday nights at 7:30 is when we start. We go till about 10:30. Tonight, or this Friday is the last one of the year. Then we are taking our Christmas break. I'm also on Ronin's Den podcast with my co-host Eric, the groggiest grognard, or GM Duality Complex, whichever you want to call him. We do a lot of Fabula Ultima content there. We have a second edition game, Fabula Ultima game, and you can catch our list of one-shots that we did last year and everything there as well. And I want to shout out my good friend Jeffrey N. Baker with When Suddenly Games. He has his TTRPG, The Crypt is Open, in a pre-launch right now, so you can sign up to be alerted when the Kickstarter goes live. He is an artist. He did all the art for the book. He designed the system himself. It has an interesting TTRPG dice mechanic called the Imposition Dice System, which in my opinion should be the next Powered by the Apocalypse Forged in the Dark system. It is that good. Absolutely hope that he has a smashing success with that Kickstarter and that game goes very viral because it deserves it. And he's just an all-around good guy, and I wish him the best. So if you feel it in your heart to go check that out, you can get the beta version right now on When Suddenly Games itch.io page.
Amazing. Well, I don't want to keep you from Blam for too much longer, but the story I'd like you to bring to me is that you're a dragon, and you mentioned Ruby Dragon.
So I was in a Discord group called the what was it called now? The Dungeon Masters Guild. Before the Dungeon Masters Guild website came out, and it was basically just a Discord channel for a bunch of dungeon masters to get together and discuss things and talk and stuff like that. I'm no longer with them because the guy that did it turned out to be like a huge MAGA head, and it was not good. So I abandoned that. But while it was still good, there were a bunch of people that were just starting to call themselves so-and-so dragon. So like consulting some, I forget what her original name was, but it was like consulting something. Well, she became consulting dragon, or we got fresh dragon. And I'm like, well, Steve Dragon doesn't sound very cool. So I'm just going to go with the dragon, or I'm going to go with Dragon X. And at that point, everybody was kind of like talking about what type of dragon they were. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be a typical dragon. So I got looking, and Kobold Press has the gem dragons, and the god of the gem dragons is a ruby dragon named Cerador. And I'm like, well, hell, I'm a ruby dragon. Why not? I shine. I'm bright. I can do that. So from that point on, I was a ruby dragon. And that has been, when people ask what type of dragon I am, I'm a ruby dragon. That's what I am. And that's that's how the story came to be. And I've been the Dragon X ever since.
That's very cool. For the record, I'm a Dweomer dragon.
What is that?
I'm a magic dragon.
Oh, okay. A magic dragon. All dragons are magic, dude.
But I'm a dragon made of magic.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Well, it was so nice getting acquainted with you, Ruby Dragon X. I look forward to I look forward to speak with you again soon. Thanks so much for this interview, and I'll make sure people get to promoting When Suddenly Games, and let's definitely keep in touch for other things. Otherwise, I hope you have a great night.
You as well. Nice talking to you. Thanks for having me.
My privilege.